All right, welcome back to Bayou Time as we have Ross Brennan with the State Police here in Troop C, Public Information Officer. He does a great job at keeping us informed here in the area. And good to see you again, sir. How are you?
Same to you, sir. Good.
All right, so, we talked about this in the last show about pedestrian fatalities, and I asked you, I think, numbers at that point, but lo and behold, we have one here. Can you give us the information on that and what took place?
Yeah, so on October 8th, a little bit before 8 p.m., State Police Troop C, we responded to a vehicle versus pedestrian crash on Grand Caillou Road, which is State Highway 57, kind of near Redmond Road. So if you're familiar with the area, it's kind of by the Thompson Road extension. So once troopers arrived on scene, we discovered that there was a 33-year-old male, Arturo Cruz Tetzenkila, from the Houma area. He was struck by a southbound Ford F-250. Now, preliminary investigation, he was standing in the roadway whenever he was struck by that vehicle. He did suffer fatal injuries and died at the scene. The driver of that Ford was not injured. Troopers did not detect any signs of impairment, and that driver did provide a voluntary breath sample, which showed no alcohol detected. Now, as far as toxicology for the pedestrian, one was taken, and it was submitted for analysis, and we're waiting for those results.
Yeah, we don't think about it. Sometimes the emphasis always goes on the driver, but the pedestrian may be walking home from a bar, and I'm not insinuating that this took place, but so, you got to look at both sides, don't you?
Yeah, many different factors. You can have the driver can do everything right. It almost kind of like imagine like an animal in the sense where a deer can run out suddenly in front of you. If you have a pedestrian on the side of the road who is intoxicated or something like that, not paying attention, they can step out in front of you. And your reaction time, you might not have any. So again, we don't know what happened. We're still investigating the total circumstances in this crash here, but just in general, that could happen with pedestrian crashes.
Let me ask you this, Trooper Ross, because y'all have investigated 25 fatal crashes resulting in 28 fatalities in 2023.
Yeah.
Where's that with last year?
So look, anytime we lose anybody on the road, it's tragic, right? But just from a statistical aspect, we are significantly lower than where we were last year. So we are trending to have a lower year. In fact, last year in our whole state, we had, I think, 906 fatals on our roadway, which that's significantly a lot. We are kind of trending to a lower number this year, so hopefully we can stay on that track. But we do have the holidays coming up too. We got the fall holidays, so Thanksgiving and then Christmas too. A lot of holiday parties, people potentially making poor choices, leaving them. So it's kind of a recipe for a bad mixture there, but we just hope everybody makes those right choices.
Some other talking points that I know you want to get to is what to wear and all, but just from personal standpoint, 2 times last week, I almost hit someone that was jogging in the road right off of Barrel Street, no reflectors, dark clothes, and I don't care how good your headlights are, if it's dimly lit outside, it's hard to see.
No, that's absolutely correct. So from a driver aspect, definitely be paying attention going down the roadway. That way you could react to a potential hazard that happens in front of you. But if you're the pedestrian, some things to keep in mind is if you're going to walk near the roadside, try to walk in the direction that the traffic is coming at you. That way you can see oncoming traffic and you can make an appropriate maneuver. Let's say the car starts to drift over towards you. Well, you see it coming, you can hurry up and jump out the way. That's a good tip there. But also if you are walking, especially at night, wear some type of brightly colored clothing or potentially a reflective vest. They're not that expensive, like $4. You can go to Harbor Freight and get something. But maybe throw that on. That way it kind of gives that driver enough chance to be able to see you from a little bit further out. If that reflective vest picks up the headlight, maybe he'll see that before he actually sees you. Another thing, too, is that if you are trying to cross a roadway, maybe try to wait. First off, ensure no cars are coming, right? And even if you're at a crosswalk, just try to make eye contact with those drivers. If you make eye contact with that driver, then you know that they see you. Don't just assume that a car sees you and is going to stop for you, because we know people drive distracted all the time, whether that's kids in the car or playing with the radio or the cell phone. There's always distraction. So just make that eye contact. That way you know for sure, hey, they see you, and just wait to see what they do before trying to cross the roadway.
If a lot of joggers and walkers down Highway 90, old Highway 90, and I always think about it that they're one mistake away from being hit. So if somebody's texting, if somebody's playing with their radio, and they veer off a little bit, it can end tragically. So good advice for them to walk where they can see the car. At least if they see it starting to veer off, they can at least dive in the ditch or do something.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with all the distractions in vehicles, it makes your job a lot harder.
No, most definitely. I mean, whether it's a pedestrian type situation, but even just a little minor fender bender on Martin Luther King, right? Somebody rear ended somebody. We're faced with a lot of distractions in our life. We just have to make those right choices behind the road. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a choice that we made. We made that decision to take our eyes and mind off the roadway. And so it can be something as small as a fender bender to, God forbid, like a pedestrian related crash or something even more serious. So just pay attention whether you're the driver on the roadway or if you are a pedestrian walking, right? Be aware of your surrounding and what's happening around you. And maybe just trying to make those right choices, we can prevent some, future tragedies like this from occurring.
Yeah, I'm old fashioned too. When you see all this new display in cars and you gotta makes you hit the button.
Yeah, I mean,
3 or
it's
4
almost like
times.
the cell phones in the dash now.
And I'm
They're
like,
pretty complicated.
just give me a knob. You know, if you want to turn the volume down,
Yeah.
you can do it without looking. You know, but it makes you, forces you to look at. It's a big iPad, really.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we appreciate you as always coming by, and we look forward to the information. Although sometimes it's tragic, but we do appreciate you always being transparent for the area.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Trooper Ross Brennan once again with Troop C here in the area, and heed the warning: if you're out there, wear bright, reflective clothing, and try to avoid jogging, you know, at nighttime or early in the morning when they can't see you. But if you must before work, make sure you heed those, get those reflectors on and get that clothing on so people can see you. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with a lot more. Don't go away.